do too.
Why don't I? That's annoying. All right, well, let me do the technical solution of logging back in as well.
Brenda,
but I'll stay on the phone.
Are you there, Brenda?
Yeah, can you hear me? My phone number didn't work.
Yeah, we hear you. Can you see Michael's screen?
Yep. I can't believe it. I got it on the first try.
Okay.
And Robert, Michael, I'm just going to have to duck out like a few minutes early because I have an 11 o'clock.
Okay.
FYI.
We should try to be able to fly through this. I mean, it's really just so that I can show you guys all the new changes and things that we've made. We still have a little bit of massaging that we need to do to the existing content. So realistically, excuse me, you guys won't be able to get in here and edit using this new layout until early next week. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a preview and show you what we've changed. Should make it a million times easier to use.
Can I make a request? The screen, can you make it bigger? I don't know if that's reasonable or not.
Yeah, it is pretty small, but I moved mine to the to my larger screen, and I can see it now.
Okay.
Is that any bigger, what I just did?
I'll fiddle around on my end. Oh, yeah, got it.
Corey, are you back?
I am, and I see everything going on, so that's good.
All right. Is that you, Eleanor, or is that Cheryl?
I'm on.
I'm on too.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys can see me messing around in here?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
So everybody's seeing, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good.
So looks like a lot of the functionality is the same, but maybe you can take us through what's changed.
So we added this entire panel on the right here. So now you can see all previews of all of the slides in the book.
Oh, okay.
That's nice.
Instead of it being just a bunch of numbers at the bottom of the screen, so you had no idea what was on what slide.
And is that how you navigate from one page to another?
From the back end, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
so you can click through any of these to go to that individual slide right away and edit it. So you know what you're editing as opposed to clicking through random numbers at the bottom of the screen.
Great.
And then we added a new feature that we're basically calling chapters. So because this is a book, and we only have certain things that are in the table of contents on the right-hand side from the front end, it made the most sense, to turn this into an actual book. So we've now got chapters and then pages in a chapter. So chapters, the titles of chapters, are what show up on the front end, and then you have individual pages within a chapter. So it makes much more sense like an actual book.
So you're saying that what used to be a deck is now a chapter?
Well, what used to be a deck is still a deck, but a chapter is now just a grouping of pages.
Within a deck?
Exactly. So like if I go, right now I'm on this contextualized learning how-to guide, so if I publish this, and then if I go to the actual deck itself, you'll see that the only two things that are in the navigation are the two chapters. So your first chapter and then chapter 2. So chapter 2, but then we have there's multiple slides within each chapter.
Slides
These
or
are all
pages?
slides. Pages.
Okay, so slides and
So I'm going to make a suggestion, and this is pretty common with IT folks, but it's pretty much anybody that does anything technical. Make sure that you, if you could, define your terms when you I guess come up with new ones. Catherine and I kind of defined some of the terms based on what we learned, and people speak in acronyms all the time, and they forget what it's like before they knew these acronyms.
Do we have a call?
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to answer it.
Hi, may I speak to Brenda?
Nope, I'm busy. I'm not multitasking that much.
So is there a way to preview the slides rather than go right to publish, like we used to be able to preview what was going to be published?
No, but there can be. I can make a note to.
That was a nice option. And also, if we wanted to, the big problem that we had been running into was that when we would add slides, or that we would put them in the end and then reorder them, and then all the slides would get wiped out. I don't know if you ever, we talked about that a couple times.
Entirely addressed. Yeah, so we changed that completely. So we rewrote the way that worked entirely. So now if you want to reorder slides, you have this window, the sidebar over here that's got all the individual slides, and there's just this button, reorder slides, and you push it.
Yeah.
And then you can click and drag the slides around.
Yeah, that's good. How about if you want to clone a slide? If you like a lot in the slide, but you're just going to take out a few things from it. Do we have the clone?
Don't have that in there yet, but we can certainly add that.
Okay.
That's something you guys are interested in.
Now, when you add, so is it still going to be the fact that when you add a slide, you'll add the slide to the very end? It'll.
Oh, Jesus.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like a fire drill.
Sorry, I'm going to hop off.
Oh, no. They have a,
Uh-oh.
it sounds like they have a
Fire drill.
Fire drill downtown.
That
How
was-
annoying. They're the owner.
Cheryl?
So, no, she's at home, I think, right, Cheryl?
Oh,
Yes.
I just didn't know. Okay, Cheryl's there. I just didn't know if she was able to get in. Sorry, go ahead, Corey. What were you saying?
Just when you want to add a new slide or a blank slide, how do you go about doing, and you want to put it between number 6 and number 7, how do you do that? Is that something that, or when you add a new page, does it always come up? I see add a new page to the chapter. Will it go to the end and then you reorder it?
Yeah, it goes to the end of that particular chapter specifically. So like if this chapter has 3 slides, so if I want to add a 4th, I can just hit this and it adds it right to the end here. And then I can hit reorder and then immediately put it wherever I want.
Excellent.
So did you finish talking about the copying of a slide?
He's going to create that.
We don't have any cloning, but we can build cloning in pretty easily before you guys get in there to edit it next week.
Okay.
But the other nice thing that we added was this previous versions text button right here. This saves 30 of the most recent versions of any individual slide edit.
That's nice.
So it says the date and time that it was edited, and if you accidentally delete something or something disappears or whatever it is, you want to just go back, you can always hit previous versions, and then you can switch right back to that version.
So that's great. Now, can we go, we're in the contextualized learning one. Just for fun, can we go to the training and development, the Synapse deck? and look at that and edit that and see. Now, since there's, if we click the publish key right now, well, first of all, I can't see how, it used to say how many pages what page we were on.
Well, Michael, for just clarity on what you just said, is saving 30 of the last edits or 30 of the last versions? Or is that the same thing?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing because it auto saves and then there's also this little save button up here.
Okay. The reason I'm saying that, say I'm in there, and just for my clarity, and in one chapter I made some changes, then I go to another chapter, I make some changes, and I haven't hit saved or anything yet, and then I do another chapter and make some changes. Will all that be like the same edit?
No, it's per slot. It's per page.
Okay.
So this is previous versions of this particular page.
Okay, that's important to know. Okay, I think it is anyway.
Yeah, for sure. But we wanted to make it as easy as possible to move back and forth between content.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Corey.
No, I was just going to say, so in the previous version, you were able to see there was like 1 through 23 at the bottom, so you could go from page to page. Now, is that all on the left-hand or right-hand side there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you go to the right-hand side there and go arrow or move it all the way down to the bottom, do we know how many slides we have there or pages? I'm gonna.
No, but we can easily add slide numbers to the left of them.
Okay, that'd be helpful.
Okay. This is why I wanted to get in here and show you guys before you went in and started editing, so that I could have a couple of days to make these little changes just from a usability standpoint, because I want to make sure that it's easy as possible for you guys to edit. And then Corey, you made a comment.
I was just wondering if everybody else would like to have that, or is it just me?
No, this is Brenda. I think that, and I use the chat too, but I don't think anyone's looking at it. I think this is similar to what the PDF and the PowerPoints have, and that's that's good. I think that we're all pretty much used to that.
It's just like exactly. That's what we tried to make it more like, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no need to retrain us all.
Right. Exactly. We just moved it over to the right-hand side instead. And then, Corey, one time you had mentioned to me that you weren't sure how to delete a picture or delete something that you added. So
I figured it out.
You click on something, we added this little red X to any element. So you can always very easily just delete.
Just for me. I feel like that red X is just for me. Thank you very much.
Of course, no problem.
I actually did figure it out eventually, the delete key instead of the backspace, but thank you for that.
Yeah, okay. So then let's go back to this test book I was messing around with, and I can show you guys.
And we'll still have that hyperlinking ability that we had before.
Yeah, everything else still works. We just sort of layered some additional features on it. Like we want to add a second new page in this new test book, we're going to add a Learn More button. Learn More.
Yeah,
so we want to select everything that is in candidate development. So from the resources drop down, we select candidate development. When we see all of these resources, we want to add them all in. We just hit this Add All button, and it automatically organizes them by signatory and shows you a little preview of how it's going to organize them. And then if you just hit OK, save book, publish, and then we can go to the front end.
Michael, so I can see that it's printing the same acronyms that were used to label them, right?
Yeah.
What should we do to make them spell out? Like sometimes it's
Oh,
readable.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot we wanted to do that. Okay, we can do that. I can add that translation. That's no problem.
but yeah, because I know that the table itself has the whole thing spelled out.
But this is what the Learn More section will look like we had always discussed. So once there's screenshots in here, it organizes them by signatory. And then I can make it so that it expands the full signatory name. And then you can cycle through them.
Good.
So it works the way that we had originally discussed.
Okay, so I think we had also talked about giving the title, every one of those resources has a title as well.
Right, which is this basically, this Contra Costa Water District, how to achieve your ... Littleton, Inglewood, and I can.
I'm not seeing the title. Oh, okay.
Right there.
Huh. Okay,
make
so
it
it
smaller,
says.
it's easier.
Okay, so what I'm seeing on the screen right now says PDF Littleton Inglewood Wastewater, but I'm not seeing a name of what that what it is, unless you open up the resource.
Yeah, the Littleton Ingleton Wastewater is just the first something. This is the full title. It's just a longer title, so it just cuts it off. So we can change the font size so that it'll print more.
Okay, because otherwise I don't. Some of these places, say from USD, there's going to be about 20 different resources, and the title would let them know whether it was something they wanted to open or not.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
And just to confirm, these are resources that are loaded on the Synapse platform, so that it's not it doesn't link directly to the Baywork website. It links directly to
correct.
internal.
So like if I hit View Resource on any of these, it opens up this window that has the actual resource on the Synapse.
Got it.
Good. So optimizing staff utilization in that one would be, right? Be good.
And then we added this button right here that makes it full screen. So if you guys are presenting on a big screen or something like that, you don't have to sit in the browser window and have the address window. So it makes it more like PowerPoint for presentations. Let's see, what else did we change? We changed a little bit of this window. So now this dashboard window has this latest activity. So it'll always save the latest change or the latest thing that was saved, so that we've got a log of everything that happened. So if something gets deleted or something happens that it shouldn't and you guys need to call me and there's an issue, I always have something to reference as to what happened.
Okay.
What does it mean? Are we on the front or on the back?
Right now we're on the back end. So the back end is the editor and the front end is the book, the presentation view. This is the front.
So is the meaning of what I'm seeing on the back that one at the bottom is the version of it that's, so the knowledge transfer toolkit, if we open that up, it says one chapter, but doesn't it probably have several chapters, the introduction and the workforce reliability planning and the Baywork case study? It's
but
actually
they weren't
several
called chapters originally. So this is something that we've got to do between now and next week. On my side, my team will do this. Is we're going to go through and build out all of the chapters for you guys the way that we had originally built them out.
Okay. And then
So,
as new chapters get migrated into it, then there would be more and more chapters in this basic document.
Exactly. And then you can always see how many chapters. I'm not sure why. This must be pulling with the wrong number, obviously, because there's not 1,600 total pages in this knowledge transfer toolkit.
Yeah, I was looking at those numbers. So what is that? What is it looking at?
Well, it seems like it's broken right now, but what it is looking at actually is the amount of chapters that are in the book when they're put in. So we've got, this is your first chapter. So if I add a new chapter and we call it, for example, They Work Case Study 1, it automatically adds it here, and then I can build out the pages in the chapter, and then if I hit save, it should happen. It should then show 2 chapters. But
Yeah, because the table of contents will show what we thought was a chapter.
Right.
Right, exactly. Correct. So I tried to make it much more like an actual book, because you don't see individual pages in a book, table of contents, but you do see chapters.
So I see that it says edit book, and then when you click on the publish, it also allows you to edit. So is that like different ways to access it?
Exactly. It's just one less click. So now you just don't have to hover over publish. You can just hit edit book.
Okay. And what was that? I saw previous at the bottom of the screen, previous versions, but then what does that page background ... mean?
So if you want to set a background for a full page, so let's add a new page in this chapter. Let's go to it, and then let's set a page background. It lets us pick an image, loading some broken images, and then it's the entire background of the slide. And then you can put text on top of it if you want. Like this. Obviously, we need to change it to white, and then make it much bigger.
All right.
But it lets you do things like that. Set a slide background. So like if you want to set certain colors or...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the questions I had also is that we noticed at some that you can put in more text than that the grid allows. So that kind of that almost square grid, is that a reference of the size of a smaller, so if somebody has a smaller screen, that's the limit, for example, of the language that they'll be visible for them? Here's a prime example.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, that's originally what it was supposed to be, but what ended up happening is as you guys started building, the content just ended up going outside of it, so we actually have to figure out a way to fix what this looks like. For now, it's not broken. It's just visually it doesn't really make a lot of sense, so this is on our list of things to fix also.
So how is that?
It won't break anything.
But is what she said true? That's the boundaries for the mobile device screen?
No, not mobile device. Just it's the boundary. So let's say, for example, we're on this particular. Let's find the page. Like this. So it's I have a widescreen monitor. So this area over here on the left-hand side of the screen and on the right-hand side of the screen won't always be present on smaller monitors. So this just accounts for a regular 4:3 monitor size.
Okay.
As opposed to a widescreen monitor.
Okay.
So if you have all of your content in the grid, it'll just make sure that anybody on any machine can view the content the way you guys have it intended.
So does that mean we should be modifying and getting all the text within that grid?
In theory, yes, but because of you guys have already spent a lot of time building these decks out the way that you have, I'm going to fix that so that it'll work. I don't want you to have to redo work.
Okay.
And so how would that correlate with mobile devices?
It doesn't have any impact at all on mobile devices. So the way that we do mobile devices is we just stack the content on top of each other. So it won't matter where the content is, if it's on the left-hand side outside of the grid or on the right-hand side outside of the grid, because this grid is really just for desktop. what'll happen on mobile is it'll automatically stack the content regardless of where it is.
Okay.
Does that sort of make sense?
Yes.
But everything else is pretty much the same. The biggest new features, obviously, are this latest activity, and then this whole sidebar here with the chapters and the pages, and then previous versions.
Now,
so in between now, go ahead.
I was wondering
Well,
if we could publish the because that was one of the things that I was had a problem with that I had talked to you or emailed you, Michael, about, was that for the training and development slides, it shows that we have 22 slides, but then when you go to publish it, it goes up to slide 17, and then slide 18 is actually slide 4 again, and it is in an eternal loop. And it doesn't show the last 5 slides as it shows them. So if you go to training development, it's published right now, but if you go to the edited version and you look at slides.
It's still broken. That's something that I tested this morning right before we got on here that I need to fix manually, I think.
Okay.
What happens when you go to it.
So we don't, so we see 1 through 24.
Right,
you get
but
up
then
to,
it only goes 5 and it starts over. Right. I'm
yeah,
not
well,
really
actually,
sure why
it
this
goes,
is happening.
It goes beyond 5. Oh, now it only goes to 5. It used to go to 17. Now it's just 5.
I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this particular deck. So I have to manually look at that one and fix it.
Thank you.
There's definitely way more slides in it, you can see. See?
Yeah.
Yeah,
when on the other deck, if you went to that, it would show you the 23 slides, and it would go up to 17, and then 18, you would go back to 4, and then it would kind of be in it. It just kind of loops forever. But and you're experiencing that apparently it only goes up to page 5 now on your.
Right. It's definitely broken and buggy, and we will definitely have this fixed and resolved for you by Tuesday. I would say it's the latest.
So is there a new process for inserting new pages? Maybe you already went over that and I didn't register what you were saying.
Yeah, so the new process for inserting new pages is you'll insert them, you insert chapters first, and then you build pages within a chapter. So let's say, for example, in Corey's Training and Development deck, right now we have my first chapter, and then we have all the different pages in the chapter. So if I want to add another page into this chapter, I can go to the end of the chapter, and I can hit this Add New Page in this Chapter button, and then it adds new pages to the end of the chapter. Or if I'm ready to start a new topic, I can create a new chapter. Chapter 3. And then I have Chapter 3 here, and then I add pages into this Chapter 3 chapter. And then I can hit this little arrow to see all of the pages in it. That make sense?
So the new process would be if you're in the original chapter, not in the first chapter, and you wanted to add slides, just like in the past, you just go to the very bottom. You add a slide to the very bottom of one chapter, and then if you want to reorder it, you have to. You can just click on it and move it to wherever you want it. You have to click on Reorder Slides first, and then you click on the slide that you want to move.
Yep.
And then you can just reorder it. Okay. And then you're going to create also a little cloning slide in case we want to duplicate the format. Okay.
Yeah, so right next to this little X button, which deletes a slide, I'll add a little copy button.
Okay.
And then we made it so that you can't accidentally delete slides. So if you hit the delete slide button.
Well, I only partially grasp it, but it reminds me kind of how you can move PowerPoint slides around in a PowerPoint.
That is the idea, to more closely match that. Yeah.
And also PowerPoint will let you do that thing you were asking for, Corey, right? That it gives you a copy and then you can modify the copy.
He's going to add that feature, but we'll have that as well. And the copy will go at the end, and then you can just move it around.
Exactly. We tried to make it more like PowerPoint for the most part.
I think that's a good direction.
Yeah, it makes it easier for everybody to use. So there's definitely still some things that we need to noodle with.
Yeah.
But overall, I am personally much happier with the way that this is, the way you would use this as opposed to what we had before. And you can also reorder chapters. So like if you want to move the chapters around, you can move those around too.
I think we're happier too. Is that right, everyone?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what strikes me is that the different decks that we have, the contextualized learning, the training and development, and the others are going to be, from what I understand, they will be moved into the knowledge transfer toolkit eventually when they're ready to go as and so we're going to have you kind of copy and paste them, if you will, in a particular location as a new chapter. Would that make sense?
Right, exactly. As a new chapter,
Yeah.
right. Yep. You got it.
So knowledge sharing systems would go in. So we would still have the chat and knowledge transfer toolkit. We'd still have on the very first page or second page, would still have the table of contents where you could link to different chapters. But this will, what I'm seeing this is will give you the functionality to be able to just lift and place like the knowledge sharing systems into the knowledge transfer toolkit where we want it to go.
Correct. And I mean the symbology or the symbolism of the chapters and pages makes more sense in a book as opposed to we were calling them slides and decks and things like that before. So now we just tried to make it more simple overall with chapters and pages and books.
I have some questions about the database. So could you show us, like take us to any given resource that's in the database right now so I can see what it looks like and how it's labeled?
We reworked the resource library slide page a little bit. So now, I mean, you can sort by any and all of these things as opposed to having a million tabs at the top. I don't know if you guys remember what it used to look like. But let's say, for example, we go to this video. It's got resource description, got the individual tags of it, so training and development, FPUC, it's also candidate development. And then I think this is for some reason a duplicate that was in the Baywork website the day it was published. And then it's the actual video itself that's embedded even right here. You can play it. And then if you want to edit it, just hit the edit button. And take here where you can add a thumbnail, a featured image, and then change if you want to change resource type, add a tag. But this is all the content from the Baywork website.
Okay, so is that where we would go as we developed a thumbnail for each one of them?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, one thing we should, I know that we originally called that data element signatory, but we've started calling it something else because not all of them are signatories. I think organization.
That makes sense. More generic.
Okay.
We don't want to get credit for people that haven't paid up. So.
Yeah, well, you know, we've got stuff from all over the country.
You want me to change?
Just where it says signatory, just use a different word. Just use the word organization.
Okay. Okay.
Because you've got the right values. It's just that all of them are not signatories.
Well, we call them. Can I call them agencies? Because it says agency over here. It's less work for me to change it to, instead of signatory, to agency over here.
Okay, I don't care. It's just they're not all organized. They're not all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Agency's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other question I wanted to ask, so these were all converted as of a given moment in time, which is fine, but we're continuing to add new resources all the time. So at one point you had talked about adding a feature that would cause, if Alan added a new data element that had any of these topic values, that it would automatically hop over. I don't know if you still have the
We still can't do
idea.
that, but we have not done that yet. But yes, we can definitely do that.
And then some of them probably we'll have to redo another conversion later because you know, some of them will have been added after your conversion and before you add that feature. One thing that really surprises me is I wouldn't have thought that there could be that many that much content on the database that has no agency, because whenever I've looked through anything that Alan has printed off for me, it's got an agency. I've seen.
I think this is just because we didn't pull all of the content out from the first sync yet. So I think there's still some content in there that is from that first sync where it was incorrectly labeled. So there's only a couple of pages of it, so there's only maybe 30 resources that have no agency out of 321.
And you think those are,
Okay,
you think those
okay,
are,
good,
you think those are duplicates then?
That wouldn't be right.
Are those duplicates, Michael, then?
Yeah, they're duplicates, yeah. So I still need to go through and delete those.
Or could you go back and just reconvert from the Baywork database totally, or that doesn't seem like a good idea?
It's just that's a little bit of, we won't need to do that. That's overkill. All I'll need to do is delete these ones that have no agency because they're already in here as other agents. They're in there duplicated.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, oh good. And then you've got, now I'm happy to see this. So you've got you've also got a generic kind of search where you could just write in anything?
Yeah, so I could type in, so these are all the resources that have the word Cheryl anywhere in them. Yes, we can do this. And then I know this is something we talked about adding to the front end too. So we built the feature in here, so now we can just very easily add it to the front end.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was going to ask that. Thanks. Okay, good.
So it appears that we are, this is a side remark, are we recording this like we are a webinar, for example, Robert, so that someone like Catherine who wasn't able to make this meeting can see it again at a later time?
Yes.
So can you send out the link to us all too in case we want to review this as well?
And what we can do is once I've got everything 100%, we can do another one of these where I can walk everybody through it, and then I can basically say, all right, guys, you're off to the races. Get back in there and start editing. So if you want to do that next week, we can definitely set that up next week or the following week.
Yeah, in fact, maybe we should go ahead and schedule it. I agree that's what we should do.
Next week, my in-laws are coming in town next week, so I don't know how much they're going to hijack my week.
All of it.
Probably, yeah. That's what in-laws are good for.
One thing I think we should think ahead about too is, and I'm sorry, I know we need to schedule that, but the one thing, I'm thinking ahead to the presentation to signatories, and so we're going to want to have that learn more function added to each of the chapters. Is that something that you could go ahead and just put into the chapters, or do the individual authors need to do that?
I will add it in for you guys. That's not a problem.
Okay, I think that would be good. And then we can anticipate that only a meager few of them will have thumbnails at that point, that'll be something that we'd have to add in later. So just more as a question mark to the group, do you think it matters in terms of the presentation to the signatories? It seems like, Michael, that you're using a more attractive, they don't look as bad as they did when they were those red flags, you know?
Right.
So,
Hold on, sorry, one second.
yeah. But do you guys have an opinion about whether we should try to get thumbnails ready, at least for the ones that we're showing in the signatory meeting, or just try to deal with that later?
I mean, it should only take at most a couple of hours to get all the thumbnails done for the signatory meeting. So if you, I mean, if we get to the point where you guys are super happy with all the way the content is and you need thumbnails, we can figure out a way to run through and make thumbnails.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't want to get in the habit of doing that for everything, but we can for this particular instance.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
that'd be nice.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Because it'll show a lot better.
Yeah, much. I agree entirely.
So it would be great, Michael, if as you said, we'll have everything up and ready to start editing. I mean, we've been doing all of our stuff. As you can see, the training and development in particular is one that we're actually working on or trying to work on, and we're doing it behind the scenes on PowerPoint just to continue to move along. But it's a pale and it's not an efficient way to go about it, and it gets very confusing very quickly. So the sooner that we have a working deck or chapter or Synapse that we can use, the better. Is there any way, since you said it would be ready by Tuesday, that we could have a meeting on Tuesday? And does that work for anybody? It works for me.
I would, that gets a little close just because, I don't know necessarily what's going on with my week next week. And Tuesday, usually I'm pretty booked up entirely in the mornings. So what I'd like to do is, if you are building it in PowerPoint, I had extended the offer to you originally where if you build it in PowerPoint, we can go ahead and build out the deck for you just so you don't have to re-enter the content. So we still can certainly do that.
Yeah, the problem is that we just had, it's confusing to begin with because we only have pages that refer to other pages, so it's not the entire PowerPoint. It's like, put this slide after slide 6, but then when that's populated, okay. Then, so it's like, it's not an entire PowerPoint from beginning to end, it's actually pieces of it. So that's why we're just kind of.
Give me until Tuesday to isolate out and fix all of these issues that we've come up with. We should be able to resolve them all by Tuesday for sure. And then what I'll do is I'll reach out to you guys on Tuesday and say, okay, here's what my schedule looks like for the rest of the week and early next week. Let's set up a time to chat through this again and release you guys into the wild.
So my feeling, I wonder if anybody's on board. I mean, we've been using Synapse for a while, and this explanation makes a lot of sense. I don't see a lot of things that can. I mean, if you can upload it and make it live on Tuesday, and then perhaps we could schedule a meeting to review the additional features at a later date when it's more convenient. I think that would really serve both of our purposes because we've got 6 weeks.
That's okay.
We've got until our signatory meeting, and we've got a lot of work to try to, and I know
Gotta
Cheryl's
get in
going to be
there.
gone for June. So I'm kind of chomping at the bit to kind of get going again. So I
So
don't
let's go
know
with
if it's-
that plan. Let's assume that we'll push the full new version on Tuesday. You guys can get back in there on Tuesday, and then we'll set up a time to go through everything.
Is
Okay.
everyone okay with that? I mean,
Yes.
that sounds great for me.
Perfect.
Yay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll make these updates, and then I'll shoot out an email on Tuesday morning to everybody, releasing you guys into the wild.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to take off into the wild.
And
Okay.
do we want to set up a follow-up meeting perhaps for the following Tuesday in the morning on the 23rd? Do you know what your week's like for that week? Or the
I
22nd?
can never do Tuesday mornings, but
Oh,
just because I always have a call from 9 to 11 every Tuesday.
I think she was just
That's
talking
How
about,
about
she was
third?
talking about us, Michael, not you. Is that right,
Oh,
Corey?
okay. But Thursday,
No, that
Yeah.
isn't true. I was actually talking about the follow-up with Michael after it's all up and alive. I mean,
Well,
we could have a meeting with us too, but I was thinking that Michael was going to give us a walkthrough.
Well, he had
after
already
he
said
makes it go
his week, like, he's not sure what his week's going to be, so he couldn't promise that right now.
But I'm saying, how
Right.
about the following week?
Yeah,
that should be fine. Yeah,
yeah.
well, it should be fine.
So maybe on the 26th at noon, like this Friday, the
Well,
26th.
he won't know until next week what the rest of the week and the following weeks look like, he said.
And that particular 26th, I'm going camping that Friday, so it would have to be the 25th. Or
25th
it would
for
be
everybody.
the easiest, honestly. It would be the easiest, honestly, Corey, if on Tuesday I can send out an email saying go, and then I'll suggest a bunch of different times for us to meet, if that's
Yep.
okay.
Yeah,
Sure,
right.
sounds great.
I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing over the next couple of weeks in in-laws. They don't ever see their grandkids. I don't know what their deal is going to be. I just don't want to promise anything.
Oh, we understand.
Appreciate it.
So, Corey, you still want to meet with the team on Tuesday still? Or just
I don't know. I think we're okay, but unless anybody else wants to meet, I think for those of us who've been using this isn't a new. It's just an improved version. It's not. It's pretty intuitive, which is great, Michael. So thank you for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, in the meantime, let me know if you guys have any other questions or think of any other features or anything you want to add. But expect some more updates on Tuesday.
all right.
Okay.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.